Different questions on how to solve for angles in circle geometry. What is the value of angle alpha from the given diagram? Label B, C, D and E. From triangle C, E, D. The sum of angle D and angle C equals angle E. The reason is that the exterior angle of a triangle equals the sum of the two opposite interior angles. Hence, the sum of angle D and 60 degrees equals 104 degrees. Thus, angle D equals 44 degrees. Join line B, C such that from triangle B, O, C. Angle B, O, C equals 2 times angle D. Angle at center is twice that at the circumference of the circle. This implies that angle O equals to 88 degrees. From triangle B, O, E. The sum of 88 degrees and angle X equals angle B, E, C equals 104 degrees. Exterior angle of a triangle equals the sum of the two opposite interior angles. It implies that X equals 16 degrees. Therefore, the correct option is E. Required to find the value of angle X and the length of DB. Label point E and join line B, C. Triangle ABE is a 45 degrees right triangle. It is indicated by the two given curves are equal. It means that line A, B equals line B, E and angle A equals angle E, which is equals 45 degrees. Also, line A, C equals line E, C that is equals to line B, C. Each of these lines is equals to the radius R of the circle. Using Pythagoras' theorem, the square of line A, E equals the sum of the square of line A, B and the square of line B, E which equals to the product of 2 and the square of line B, E. The result which equals 2 times the square of 8. Take the square root of the equation and we have that the line A, E equals the product of 8 and the square root of 2 in centimeters. This is equals to the diameter of the given circle. Thus, line A, C equals to the product of 4 and the square root of 2 in centimeters. This result equals the radius, R of the given circle. From triangle C, B, D which angle B equals 135 degrees. Label angle D equals beta and angle C equals alpha. And consider the values of the lines obtained. Use sine rule and substitute values. We have that the product of 4 and the square root of 2 all divided by sine beta equals to 8 divided by sine 135 degrees. Cross multiply and solve for sine beta. We have that sine beta equals half after simplification. take the sine inverse of the equation, and we have that beta equals 30 degrees. It implies that the sum of angle beta, 135 degrees, and angle alpha equals 180 degrees. It is because the sum of angles in a triangle equals to 180 degrees. Hence, angle alpha equals 15 degrees. Label point J and from triangle C, J, B. The sum of angle X, 15 degrees and 45 degrees equals to 180 degrees. It is because the sum of angles in a triangle equals 180 degrees. It means that angle X equals 105 degrees. Therefore, X equals 105 degrees. For solution to question 2. Required to find the length dB. We obtained earlier that sine beta equals to half by trigonometric identity. Cosine beta equals the square root of the sum of 1 and the square of sine beta. After substituting values, we have that cosine beta equals the square root of 3 divided by 2. Use cosine rules shown and substituting values. We have that the square of the product of 4 and the square root of 2 equals the sum of the square of 8 and the square of line D, b minus the product of 2 and line D, b times 8 times the square root of 3 divided by 2. Let y equals to line D, b. We obtained an equation in y as shown on the screen. Rearrange terms only in one side of the equation. We obtained an equation as shown on the screen. Use general quadratic equation formula to solve for y. That is, y equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b square, minus the product of 4 and a times c all divided by 2 times a. Here, a equals 1, b equals negative 8 times the square root of 1/3, and c equals 32. Substitute values and we have that y equals 8 times the square root of 1/3 plus or minus the square root of 64 all divided by 2. Simplify, and we have the result shown on the screen. Y cannot be equals to the sum of 4 times the square of 1/3 and 4. Y equals to line D. B cannot not be greater than the longest side length of line D. C equals 8 centimeters. Hence, y equals 4 times the square root of 3 minus 4 all in centimeters. but y equals to the length of line DB. Therefore, the length DB equals to the product of 4 and the square root of 3 minus 1 in centimeters, or 2.9282 centimeters to 4 decimal places.
Study the diagram and use it to answer the given questions. Join line A, O and D, O. Each line equals to the radius, R of the circle. Also, label point E and join line E, O equals to the radius, R. From triangle AOB, line A, O equals line B, O which is equals R, the radius of the circle. Angle AOC equals to 2 times 37.5 degrees which is equals to 75 degrees. This is because angle at center is twice that at the circumference of the circle. Since triangle AOB is isosceles triangle, angle ABO equals to angle BAO which is equals to x. Base angles of isosceles triangle are equal. This implies that angle AOB equals to 180 degrees minus 2 times x. Also, angle ABO equals to angle BOE which is equals to x. The reason is that alternate angles are equal. Thus, 75 degrees plus 180 degrees minus 2 times x plus x equals 180 degrees. It is because the sum of angles in a straight line equal to 180 degrees. Solving for x, we have that x equals to 75 degrees. Consider triangle AOB. Using cosine rule, angle AOB equals to 75 degrees plus 82 degrees equals 157 degrees. Square of line AD equals 2 times the square of line AO times 1 minus cosine 157 degrees. We call it equation 1, where line AO equals to radius, R. Substitute in equation 1, simplify. And we have the square of line AD equals 188.20947563 centimeters square as shown on the screen. Find the square root of the equation. We have that length of line AD equals the square root of 188.20947563, which we call equation 2. From triangle COD, angle COD equals 82 degrees. Line DO equals to line BO which is equals to radius, R. Using cosine rule, the equation for the square of line CD is shown on the screen. Substitute values obtained, simplify, and we have that The square of line CD equals to 84.36103610 centimeter square. Find the square root of the equation to give that line CD equals the square root of 84.36103610. Substitute equation 2 for the length of line AD and line CD above, respectively. Thus, the required length AD minus length CD, after simplification, equals to 4.53411945 centimeters. Therefore the required length is equals to 4.5 centimeters to 1 decimal place. Required to find the value of angle X from the given figure. Label A, B, C and D. We need to find the radius, r of the circle. Length BC, length BD and length CD before we proceed to solving the required angle X. From triangle ABD. Angle BD, A equals 60 degrees. Let length A be equals to Y. Using sine rule, the ratio of y to sine 60 degrees equals to the ratio of line BD to sine 40 degrees. Cross multiply and solve for length of line BD. We call the equation obtained for line BD equation 1. From triangle ABC. Using sine rule, substitute values, cross-multiply and make line BC the subject of the formula. We call the equation formed by line BC equation 2. From triangle ABC. Using sine rule, we can now solve for the length of line CD. Thus, length of line CD equals to the sum of length of line BC and BD. We substitute the values for the length of line BC and BD, respectively, we obtained earlier and simplify in equation CD, which we call equation 3. Let us solve for the radius, r. Join radius to A and B, respectively. This implies that angle AOB equals to 2 times angle ACB. Angle at center is twice that at the circumference of the circle. Since line AC equals to line BC, line OC is an angular bisector of angle ACB. Consider triangle AOB. Using sine rule, we have that the ratio of r to sine 70 degrees equals to the ratio of y to sine 40 degrees. Cross multiply and solve for r, which we call equation 4. Reconstruct the figure. Join line OC equals to radius, r. And let angle COD equals to beta. Consider triangle DOC. Using cosine rule, we have equation form for the square of line OD as shown on the screen. Let us substitute values and simplify. Substitute the values we obtained for length OC and CD in the cosine rule formula for the square of line OD and simplify. We have that the square of line OD equals to the product of 0.55090122149 and the square of y. Find the square root of the equation and we have the length of line OD equals to the product of y and the square root of 0.55090122149, which equal to 0.7422271999 times y. We call it equation 5. From the same triangle DOC. Using sine rule, we have that the ratio of r to sine x equals to the ratio of line OD to sine 10 degrees. Cross multiply and solve for sine x. We obtained equation in sine x as shown on the screen. Substitute the value of equation 4 for r and equation 5 for line OD, respectively, in sine x equation above and we have equation in sine x as shown on the screen. Sin x equals 0.2538566653 divided by 0.7422271999. Find the sine inverse of the equation. We have that x equals sine inverse of 0.2538566653 divided by 0.7422271999, which equals to 20 degrees. Therefore, x equals to 20 degrees.